In 1959, I worked in Newcastle with a boilermaker firm at Guinea. I applied for a job up in New Guinea and other places, and the first letter came back from New Guinea. They wanted someone to set up the workshop, a boilermaker workshop. Right? So 59, I did all the tests in Newcastle, the medical in Sydney, and I flew to Moresby in 1959. I lived in a donga, and the workshop was was about 4 natives, and wanted to set up a proper machinery, and bought the machines from Australia, the Cinematic, the aluminium rolling machines, the circle cutters, and so set it up and taught them, and then I employed another couple of Europeans. We did all the work around Moresby, like the wharves and the water supplies and so on, right? And this is when I was still working myself. And I did one of the first jobs was overflow pipes on the Bumana water supply station, and building the stairway up. There was about 4 of them big ones, and this is the ones here. So this was that one. The next one was still quite a tricky one, was the penstocks going down to the turbines at Nirona, and to cut in and put that special hammering with the valve which came from Sweden. I had to cut it in, make flanges up, and then put that valve, that big valve, in on 2 pipes to stop the hammering from water when it goes down steep down to the turbines. So this is one of the tricky jobs. And then around the town, the wharf, we did the underwater work there a little bit, and the barge which goes across to an island, we fixed that one up. Had to do some underwater work. I lived in a donga where all the single man squatters were, and the mess. When I met Jane, there was a big change in my life. And the way I met her is quite interesting. I went to a movie in Port Moresby where they still have the canvas chairs and everyone smoked. And I went there to go to the milk bar. There was still the milk bar, right? And I saw that beautiful lady on the other side, and I looked at her and then looking for a straw to drink. So she came out. She came up and showed me where the straws are. And we started talking. I said, look, I would like to go out with you, Oh, she said, that's all right. And so back to the picture and back to work. And one of the foremen, Wally Kennedy, I asked him to ring her because I wasn't sure how my language gets across. Anyway, yes, he laughed his head off. He rang her. I said, listen, I'm talking for Erich. He's here and he wants to take you out for a drive. And she said, yes, no worries, no worries. Okay, so I had the new car, the Wolseley, and the first car, and we drove out towards the Brown River. Loloki River we stopped, and we had took a few photos, and all of a sudden about 200 guys from New Guinea came up and joined us and took a photo with Jane, and there were no problem with them. They were very nice. And they come up from the Chimbu country, up the highlands, for 2 years contracts, right? Like planting trees. So, yeah, we took the photos, and then they said, well, let's go for dinner. And I asked to go for dinner, and there was a restaurant, reasonably new, and had a singer there too, and a skirt singing. And it was a lovely evening. And that's how it started. And we went out steady. And there was one issue, I got malaria, and very badly. So sweating and whatever. And Jane, she came out to the camp and sponged me down and looked after me. And so we got closer and closer, right? So we were like steady like normal couple. And then her sister was up there, her sister. She was going to get married, right? So when Jane was going down this day, what do you call it, the best mate? And I got some photos maybe at the airport, and with the beer in the back of my Jeep. And the Jeep there, I was lucky, I got some photos there too. And then Jane flew down with her sister because she was getting married in Geelong, where she came from. And Jane went with her as the best mate, yes. And they talked about the parents, and they weren't very happy meeting and marrying a foreigner. Those days, they were still a foreigner. And anyway, one more way they talked them over, And when they come back after a week or so, Jane said, "Look, I'm pregnant." Oh, that's going to change my life completely, So what do you do? We just wait to go ahead. And we planned for the wedding. And we had the wedding up in Port Moresby. Some friends from the workshop, that's all. And my brother-in-law and the Jane's sister. And it was great. It was all right. We were married then, right? And life went on there. Well, she was a real pioneer. And then, of course, Karen was born, 1961. So the first one, Karen, my wife. She already had Mandy. And in Tapini, I was for 6 months, roughly, and building a pipeline for down from the hillside where the turbines were, to drive the turbines. It's only a small one because Tapini was only a small town. My wife, she already had Mandy, and Pauline looked after Mandy, and Karen came with her. When you look at the photos, she came in for 3 days, my wife, and cooked because, can you imagine everyone? And there was Europeans running the house. It was all cut by hand. Look at this is flying out. This is how it landed like this, right? And when you could go through and you have to look at it. Look how small the plane. We had to turn here straight away up here, not here. Look where we are. And down there it goes down like this, and this is where I built the powerhouse, down that slope. You see anyway, Don. You have to look at it, see? That's flying in with the pilot. That's sitting there with the welding machines, the pipes and all that. We're flying in, coming like this, turn straight away like that. And here it goes down about 200 meters too. And land uphill. That's the pipeline I put in. Under the airstrip, the water caught over there, on the airstrip and drove across in here. There's a track, only a track down here, so the house, and the carpenter built that house, and he was also German. So, and this is the one who one of the chiefs who was still eating people. And but then it was time to hand over. And Jane felt a bit sorry that we didn't, or the parents, Jane felt sorry because the parents asked always if they can see the children if you come down there. So they had a good job lined up with Alcoa. And so I said, oh, okay, we give it a go. So we went down with the Karen. Mandy was still born in Port Moresby, 1963. She was only a baby in the aeroplane. And we flew down to Melbourne to meet my in-laws. And all the families, the whole lot was out there, and they all looking me down, up and down. And their mum, like the parents, he was all right, Jim was all right, sort of, But mum, she just kept looking me and looking me and looking me. She wasn't quite happy, And their sister, she really got to me and really liked me, and we got along fine. And it didn't take long. I worked in Alcoa, where I built a travelling case for the Davis Cup. And we stayed on. I built a nice little house up in Geelong, up on the hills there. And Mum and Dad would come over, but leave at 5 o'clock. So Jane and I we never had the chance even to go to the picture shows, right? So the time Cameron was born then in Geelong, Ron was only about maybe 3 years old. And Jane says to me, we couldn't go anywhere, housebound. So Jane said to me, what do you feel like? We go back to New Guinea? I said, yes. So we went back to New Guinea. And we went up there again. They offered me a job straight away, but a higher position to oversee projects. They knew what I could do. And so one of the first jobs was, there was a bridge and we just driving the paths for the foundation. And then someone come to me, one of the bosses from down south, said, Erich, we need you in Kimby, West New Britain. Anyway, we had to come over there. There was nothing else than just a homestead. But they built up a township more or less because the Malaysian came over, started planting opium. So that's a big project. So I built the tea wharfs over there. And that took about 2 years, and it was a great job, and the kids loved it. They were with the natives, and like barefoot to school, and there was not many white ones. We had the best time of our life. We just go out fishing, and we go out to catch the crayfish, we had everything going for us, and diving. Not scuba diving. We didn't have any, there was no setup then in Kimby, West New Britain, that was the place. Never remember. And we had a great time, and on weekends we drive up to Salma, about an hour's drive, and I've forgotten the name, but it will come. There was an airstrip which was called an emergency landing strip in the war. And there was a lot of aircrafts which emergency landing, And we got photos there with the children stay on the wings, on some of the bombers, and it was just exciting. We had parties up in the palm companies, the farms or whatever it is at night. Everything was big over there. The parties were big too, and the children would sleep in the back of mattress in the 4-wheel drive, and the Marys, the women, local women would look after them, right? And we'd be going all night, right? And we'll wake up and look across the world on a hill, across out to the islands and along here. It was all cobra, was just all in line, just beautiful, So we were just that lucky. It was just the life I wanted, right? Yeah. And so the job was finished, and in the meantime they said, Erich, there's another job we want you to do. Was Manus Island. Manus Island, my God, And I said to Jane, look, you with the children, you get a government house in Rabaul or in Ley. My wife said, no way, get the tent ready. Where he goes, I go. Well, she was a real pioneer. Any jobs which was offered for me, she came along. Like when I went to Manus Island, the government said, look, you can have a house in Rabaul or in Ley. She said, no, you get a tent ready. Because there was no accommodation up there. But I went up there and started up. I knew what I'm going to do. And I went to the missions, which I did before in some other places, and talked with them. The Catholic mission would take me, but they just had a bad case, like my murder case, on their hands. And they told me, listen, go over to the Lucas mission. Lucas is a German-speaking mission. Anyway, I went over there, and no problem, we helped Erich. We cleared out the sort of a shed, and threw that in the rubbish, and we put some planks, wooden planks down on the floor, on bricks, bigger bricks, and put the timber planks across. These were the beds for the kids. We did the same in the lounge room, which wasn't much. It was incredible, that little house, you see it on the photo, it's great. That's where the kids were sleeping. And we had planks in the dining room, and we slept there. And we had the best life in our life. It was just beautiful, and the place was like in the film, like you look down the grass and all the coconut trees and the waves rolling in, right? Just beautiful, beautiful place. And it was one of their nice, best lives. They had people who came up, families came up for 2-year contracts, see? And the kids went to school there, right? So everything was good again, right? And the time we had there, they had also an underground where they cooked a goat and a pig, you know. And we had Christmas there. And we did the church. You should have seen it. Sorry, I got a photo of that one, where there's all bamboo on the half open, of course, in the open, and we sang the Christmas carols in pidgin. So you know, we can't complain whatsoever. You know, like anyway, that the work was challenging, and it was the 2 tanks for the Navy base, which I mentioned earlier. You know? I built each tank 1 million gallon, and then the pipelines down to the wharf where the ships would in and fuel up. Yeah. They fuel up from there, they could go to Guam. Now, 72, I finished the job. So I went to Lay or somewhere to finish all the paperwork, all the paperwork for the tank payments of the tanks. And Jane flew over to Mount Hagen, where we had Wally and Jenny, they're good friends of ours. And then I finished my work, we met in Port Moresby. And from Port Moresby, we flew home the first time to my place after 16 years. That was a beautiful thing to do, to meet everyone over there. We had the greatest time over there, of course, you know, after 16 years, right? Jane, the 3 kids, and me. And this is the first time I went home to Austria in 16 years, 1972, with wife and 3 kids, right? And of course, we had a great holiday. I was showing the colours from New Guinea and photos from New Guinea from my work and all in the village, and the village in the guest house, the room on top of it, right? I said, I don't want no money. And the whole store was full, right? The whole people who knew me, of course, I was the only kid which migrated to Australia. The room was full and the business was good. And this was the olden days still. They said, stop showing photos. Now it's beer time. And they would come up in a sort of big dish with all the knackers. And the other girl would go around with the samples and the beer and all that. And then let's go again, right? And they showed all these photos. And they wanted to show me these photos. I showed it in another school. They wanted me to go another summer somewhere. It was getting really that much, too much. And the New Guinea was the attraction, right? And my life like this, left here 16 years ago, right?